In the vast and often turbulent world of Euphoria, a show renowned for its unflinching portrayal of teen angst, addiction, and raw emotional chaos, there exists a quiet harbor, Lexi Howard. For much of the series, Lexi is positioned as the observer, the reliable best friend, the wallflower sister to the dramatic Cassie, the voice of reason in a storm of irrationality. She is labeled by the show's own characters and its audience as the unproblematic one, the normal girl in a sea of dysfunction. A mirror reflecting everyone else's madness while seeming to have none of her own. This perception, however, is beautifully and brutally dismantled in one spectacular, surreal, and deeply revealing sequence, Lexi's play, Our Life, particularly the fantasy dream sequence set to Holding Out for a Hero. This segment is not just a high school musical number, it is the explosive articulation of Lexi's secret inner world, a testament to the fact that no one, not even the so-called unproblematic friend, is without complexity, desire, resentment, and a rich, chaotic fantasy life. It is here that Lexi steps out of the shadows and into the spotlight of her own making, using the stage not just to tell a story but to reclaim her narrative, expose hidden truths, and fulfill long-suppressed wishes. To understand the power of this sequence, we must first understand Lexi's established role. She is perpetually on the sidelines, watching Cassie's romantic entanglements, Rue's struggles with addiction, and Maddie's fiery dramas. She is the listener, the note-taker, the one who remembers everything but is often remembered by no one. Her clothes are understated, her demeanor is calm, and her problems are considered mundane compared to the life or death stakes surrounding her. This creates a profound internal pressure cooker. Lexi is not without feelings, she is bursting with them: unspoken love for Fezco, lingering grief for her father, quiet jealousy of her sister, and a simmering frustration at being perpetually overlooked. The play becomes her sanctioned outlet, her one chance to scream without raising her voice. The fantasy sequence, therefore, is the moment she tears off the unproblematic label and reveals the vibrant, messy, and even vengeful person underneath. The sequence begins as a typical, perhaps slightly corny, high school play scene about a football game, but it quickly twists into something else entirely, a hyper-stylized, testosterone-fueled spectacle. The stage floods with dancers dressed as football players, their movements synchronized into aggressive, powerful choreography. The song, a classic 80s anthem about longing for an ideal savior, is repurposed with delicious irony. This isn't about a hero coming to save Lexi, it's about her taking heroic control of the narrative itself. The focus shifts to the character of Tyler, a stand-in for Nate Jacobs, but as seen through Lexi's critical and satirical lens. Nate, the epitome of toxic masculinity and a source of immense pain for both Cassie and Maddie, is transformed into a ridiculous, preening caricature. He is not portrayed as a cool, threatening figure, but as a laughable jock, his aggression rendered as choreographed pomp. This is Lexi's revenge, not with confrontation, but with caricature. She is exposing the absurdity of the boy who has caused so much damage, reducing his power by framing him as a performative clown on her stage. It is a brilliant, passive-aggressive act of defiance, showing that Lexi has been paying attention all along and has formed sharp, judgmental opinions she's never voiced aloud. But the sequence is about more than mockery, it is also about fulfillment and desire. As Nate and the dancers perform, the perspective is unmistakably Lexi's. This is how she imagines this world of masculine rivalry and locker room talk, exaggerated, theatrical, and yet captivating. It represents her attempt to understand and even infiltrate the spheres of power and attention from which she has always felt excluded. More importantly, the sequence serves as a subconscious conduit for her feelings for Fezco. Fezco, the gentle-hearted drug dealer, is Lexi's own hero, but in a completely different, authentic way. He sees her, talks to her with respect, and values her quiet intelligence. The over-the-top masculinity on stage subconsciously contrasts with Fezco's quiet, non-performative strength. By directing this sequence, Lexi is, in a roundabout way, exploring themes of protection and desire. She is holding out for her own hero, but one who is the antithesis of the Nate Jacobs archetype she is parodying. The entire spectacle is, in a sense, a longing filtered through satire, a way to process her own romantic yearning by first deconstructing the toxic models of masculinity she rejects. Furthermore, the fantasy sequence is Lexi's ultimate claim to attention. For her entire life, Cassie has been the star, the one who commands gazes simply by walking into a room. Lexi has lived in the glow of that reflected light. Here, on this stage, Lexi is the director, the playwright, the god of this universe. She commands the gaze of the entire school. Every laugh at Nate's expense, every stunned look from the real Nate in the audience, every moment of awe at the scale of the production is a tribute to Lexi's creativity and vision. She is no longer the background friend, she is the central artist. The sequence is a declaration: look at me. See my mind. See what I can create. It is an act of incredible bravery, channeling all her observation, her wit, and her pent-up emotion into a single, show-stopping piece of theater. The unproblematic girl proves that she is the most daring person in the room, willing to risk social suicide to tell her truth. The repercussions within the narrative are immediate and severe. The sequence is the catalyst that shatters the already fragile reality of the characters. Cassie's meltdown, Nate's fury, and the ensuing chaos are all direct results of Lexi's artistic choices. This proves that Lexi's inner world is not a harmless daydream, it has real, consequential power. Her problems, once considered minor, are now the engine of the plot. She is no longer just reacting to the drama, she is creating it. This completes her transformation from observer to active participant, and it complicates the simplistic view of her character. She is not purely a sweet, innocent girl, she is capable of calculated moves that wound, expose, and upheave, all in the name of artistic truth and personal catharsis. In conclusion, Lexi Howard's fantasy sequence in her play is the beating heart of her character arc laid bare. It is a masterful narrative device that destroys the myth of the unproblematic friend. It reveals a young woman brimming with unresolved feelings, artistic passion, simmering resentment, romantic longing, and a deep-seated need to be seen. Through satire, she executes social commentary and personal revenge. Through spectacle, she commands the attention she has always been denied. And through symbolism, she explores her own desires for a different kind of hero. The sequence reminds us that everyone has an inner life. And for those who are quiet, that inner life is often the loudest, most colorful, and most complex of all. Lexi Howard stepped out of the shadows and into the glare of the stage lights, not to blend in, but to finally show everyone the vivid, problematic, and utterly human world she had been living in all along. Her fantasy was her reality, finally given a voice, a rhythm, and a hero's welcome.